to today's webinar. My name is Nifemi Fashui. I work out of the Customer Excellence Department at Reliance Infosystems, and we appreciate you for taking time out to be part of today's webinar, themed Leveraging Data Analytics for Informed Decision Making. Before we start, I want to introduce us to our housekeeping rules. This webinar is going to be recorded for documentation purposes. We've also muted attendees and turned off our cameras for decorum purposes. Please, we have the option of using the chat window to ask any questions that you may have, and our experts are going to respond to them promptly. Thank you so much for understanding. Our speakers today are Fatai Sani and Praise Agu, who are data analysts with us at Reliance Infosystems. They are going to be sharing their insights today on leveraging data analytics for informed decision making. In the course of this webinar, we're going to explore an introduction to Reliance Infosystems, who we are and what we do, the value for data analysis for business transformation, why Power BI, a few case studies. We'll also have a demo presentation and questions and answers before we call it a day. By virtue of introduction to Reliance Infosystems, we are a leading and award-winning ICT organization with physical presence in 10 countries and a digital presence in over 50 countries. Our goal is to ensure that our partners, our customers, can leverage data technologies for their corporate objectives. We ensure that we work together with them to be able to harness these available technologies to enable them to position themselves for success in their industries. Our footprints include Canada, where our headquarters is. We have presence in the UK, Nigeria, Ghana, Botswana, Kenya, and others. We abide by a success outcome philosophy, which is built on winning with our customers. This means that at every stage of the way, we have you to guide you throughout the whole process. We do not just provide solutions and leave you to figure them out on your own. We ensure that we are with you and you can fully harness everything that we provide for you. We only consider ourselves to have won when we are satisfied that you have truly harnessed what we can provide for you. Our work has been recognized and we have won a number of achievements, including winning the Microsoft Partner of the Year a few times at parent company level and also at subsidiary level. We also partner with Microsoft, Cisco, Adobe, SAP, Hewlett-Packard, Sophos, Splunk, and a number of other organizations. We have a number of solution partner designations, including data and AI, digital and app innovation, business applications, and Microsoft Cloud solutions. Our specializations under each of these designations range from DevOps with GitHub, SAP on Azure, cloud security, and modernized endpoints, to name a few. Before I hand over to our first speaker, we have 3 success pillars that ensure that our solutions are well catered to your needs. We have those for business transformation, operational excellence, and protection assurance. For business transformation, the solutions in this category ensure that your business can be transformed digitally to reduce your costs and improve your efficiency and productivity. Here you can harness the scalability, flexibility, and pervasiveness of the cloud. We provide identity and access management, enterprise voice and collaboration, cloud hosting solution, and intelligence building solution, to name a few. We also have solutions for operational excellence, which include those that can help you to automate existing processes to ensure that you have a faster turnaround time for your services. Here we provide modern enterprise resource planning solutions, customer engagement, payments and collections integration, data platforms, and digital advisory. Finally, we have protection assurance. The solutions in this category ensure that you can focus on running your business and increasing your production, distribution, and other channels of your business, as opposed to being focused on the likelihood of threats. Here, we provide rest of mind as a service because our solutions can ensure that your information is protected. We provide gateway protection, security audits, endpoint protection, penetration testing, and vulnerability assessments. Before we delve into this webinar proper, I want to introduce us to our free digital consultation. By virtue of being an attendee of this webinar, you are entitled to one free session with us at Reliance Infosystems. We are going to liaise with you, with our solution experts, to ensure that you can get the advisory service that you need on any areas that interest you. Before the end of this webinar, we are going to be dropping a link to the list of solutions available, and you can also click on the link which will also be dropped in the chat window for you to book a session with us. At this point now, I want to introduce our first speaker, Praise Agbo, who will be taking us on leveraging data analytics for informed decision making. Thank you very much, Praise. Take it away.
Good day, everyone. Thank you very much, Nifemi, for that wonderful presentation. So my name is Praise once again, and today I will be taking us on a journey on how we can leverage data analytics for informed decision making. Okay, so let's dive right in. Sorry, give me a moment. Okay, so let's start with an essential question. Why is data important? We all know that data is the key to better decisions. However, the volume, the variety, the velocity of data are all accelerating dramatically. And without the right people, without the right processes, or even the capabilities in place, it will actually be difficult for us to answer fundamental questions like what data are we using? What is the data even trustworthy? Are we even getting the data we need to make the right decisions? And getting the right answer to this question is actually possible when all your data assets are connected and managed in a cohesive fashion. So this is when you truly enable a digital feedback cycle within your organization and provide the foundation for successful digital transformation. So when you harness the constant stream of data in your business and apply analytics into it, you tend to uncover insights that drive better decisions. You create new experiences, new ways of working, and even new outcomes. So this outputs creates new data itself. And this data can actually help you learn more about your business. It can help you find the processes further and so on. So this constant feedback cycle is the backbone of digital transformation. Now, being able to utilize data for transformative change, there are a lot of changes we are able to make in our business. So just like you have on my screen, you're talking about being able to engage your customers in new and more meaningful way, transform your product based on the signals from end users or even the product themselves. You're also able to empower employees with the real-time insight they need to make the right decision and also optimize operations by better anticipating customers' demand. Now, what is the outcome for digital transformation? That is innovation. Innovation drives better results. An example could be a customer product food company uncovering taste profile insight that is able to predict which new flavor in a potential product launch will be most accepted by the customers. It could also be a manufacturer discovering why maybe revenues are declining in West Africa and is increasing in South Africa markets. Or it could be a retailer combining general ledger data with location attributes to determine which store location performed the most. So this enables us to move from always doing a review on a situation after the outcome to actually gathering the data prior to an event, predicting the outcome, and completely avoiding issues that may arise. And in most cases, it helps us to be ahead of our competition. So the reward for a data-driven transformation strategy is they are very, very significant. In fact, the Harvard Business Review found that when comparing organizations that embraces data to drive transformation relative to companies that don't, the companies that embraces data-driven transformation, they tend to achieve better results across board, and I mean across board. So we are talking about tremendous increase in revenue performance up to 54%. We have up to 44% faster time to market. And even talking about the customer satisfaction, they are able to achieve 62% and also with increased profits up to 54%. So in general, companies that embrace this data-driven culture, they experience 4-time improvement in their revenue performance and in their customer experience. So next, talking about the ever-growing volume of data. So from research as at 2020, 44 zettabytes of data was actually collected worldwide. And at this rate, it is actually predicted that about 175 zettabytes of data will have been collected by 2025. Now, seeing this increase in data, however, if we continue using the processes we use today, it's assumed that only about 27% of data will actually be analyzed. Now, why is this so? So this is where we have problem with data being analyzed. So the problem isn't that the data is the problem is that the data isn't understood. So most cases, when the data isn't understood, it is just either displaced or is just simply ignored. And when Microsoft spoke to Fortune 1000 leaders, they tell us that although data and analytics are their top investments, the data initiatives in this area can be extremely challenging. So as you can see from my screen, 80% of companies actually struggle to advance their data insights, and 55% of companies, they tend to blame data silos and management issues as roadblocks when it comes to data analytics. And furthermore, about 50% of companies, they admit that they don't treat data as a data asset. So why is this so? It's mostly because sometimes even when they know the value of data, they don't have the processing capability to actually get there. Now, let's look at some of the challenges we face when it comes to implementing data analytics. So in business world today, a lot of organizations, they tend to face a lot of challenges when it comes to being able to utilize their data and get the most out of their data. So firstly, talking about data quality and integration, how reliable is the data you want to analyze? Is it even complete? Is it even accurate? So being confident in your quality of data before you even further analyze it is actually very important. And it's also one of the challenges that companies face in today's world. So also talking about integration. So in some cases, we have companies that have data coming from different sources. It could be your customer data, maybe from your social media handle. It could also be maybe your product purchase data from whether your app, your mobile app, or even your website. So because these data are in different sources, before you can further analyze on them, you have to bring them together. And this in this situation, most companies, they tend to face challenges in being able to integrate this data into one particular source. And also with data silos and fragmentation. So in most cases, in a company, we have different departments generating different data. So you could have your customer, your employee data rather, from the HR department. You could have your finance data from the finance department, even maybe your product data from operations and the like. So because this data are generated from different departments, they are mostly situated in different systems. And in most cases, companies, they tend to have a challenge of having a complete view of the organization's data because of these data in different systems. So also when it comes to analyzing data, we have to also be aware of the ethical and privacy concerns, because this is also another challenge we face in today's business world. So being able to ensure fairness, being able to ensure transparency, being able to ensure accountability, and also being able to avoid things like bias and discrimination is also another challenge we face when it comes to being able to analyze our data. And also some cases we deal with private data, maybe our customers' data, we deal with sensitive data, and we, even as much as we want to analyze this data, we have to ensure that the privacy of our customers, of our clients, is our topmost priorities, and this can pose a challenge in the data we want to analyze. Talking about scalability and agility. So the ability to be able to handle the increasing data volumes, the processing power, because we are definitely going to have like an ever increasing volume of data. So the data you have today in 6 months time, in 1 year time, is going to double. It's an ever increasing data. So we have to be able to ensure that we have those data infrastructure that can efficiently scale up to accommodate larger data sets. And also when it comes to the increasing computational requirements, we have those infrastructure that can actually do all that. We also have to be able to ensure that we have those flexible processes, those tools and technology that can enable swift adjustment and quickly adapt to the changing needs and requirements of our data. Lastly, talking about the cost and return of investment. So when it comes to processes, some tools, or even generally being able to implement those data infrastructure, they can actually be quite expensive. And in some cases, even when companies are aware that the value of data analysis can be very, very significant, by the time they find out or realize the cost that it takes to build this infrastructure, it's like bogus, and they tend to shy away from it. So now that we are aware of some of the challenges that we face when it comes to implementing data analytics, what can we do about it? Are there even any solutions that we can use to tackle these problems and also getting the most of our data? So here I want to briefly introduce the value realization of the Microsoft Power BI. I'm sure some of us may be aware of this tool, some of us may even be using it, but for the sake of others, I'm going to introduce what this tool is and also tell us the capabilities of this solution and how it can actually help us resolve some of the challenges that we face in data analytics and challenges I just spoke about. So the Microsoft Power BI is a user-friendly business intelligence tool that helps us to analyze our data and make better business decisions. So it possesses a lot of capabilities, but we are just going to take a look at a few, like what I have on my screen. So firstly, remember I spoke about data from different sources. When you have data coming from different sources, the Microsoft Power BI is able to easily connect to this data from multiple different sources. It has the ability to connect to over 150 data sources and integrate them in a central location. Now, isn't that amazing? Also, it also has the ability to further analyze on this data, create intelligent business insights on dashboards and results using stunning visuals that anyone can actually look at the first glance and understand the information that it's trying to pass along. And further, these reports that you generate from this tool can easily be shared on any devices, and I mean any devices. Another interesting thing about this tool is the natural language capability. So it has this inbuilt natural language capability whereby you are able to easily ask questions about your data. You're able to easily ask the tool questions about your data and you get a result instantly. It also has the user-friendly feature and the drag and drop functionality, whereby you just pick a visual and drop it on the designer, input your data, and you have a stunning visual that helps you better understand your data. Talking about being able to collaborate on this tool, you can effortlessly collaborate with your colleagues on this tool and even share it amongst the stakeholder, the management board, or anybody you want to share it with. Lastly, talking about I mentioned privacy issue. So the Power BI offers built-in features for governance and security, whereby organizations are able to establish control and oversight over their data access and usage. They're able to define roles, permission, and access level to ensure that their data is shared securely. So in other words, the particular persons you want to look at this data is a person that will look at this. In some cases where you have, say your company, you have different sales personnel in different regions of the country, and you want them to have the access to that particular data that is being generated from that region. So you're easily able to give these permissions and this access control to the respective individuals, and what they are able to look at are exactly the data that you give access to. So organizations are able to scale their data analytics effort while also maintaining control of private and sensitive information. So talking about the Gartner Magic Quadrant, the Gartner Magic Quadrant for Analytics and Business Intelligence Platform is a research institute in which Microsoft have been a leader for so many years now. The Microsoft Power BI has been a leader for so many years now. And why is this so? It's because the Microsoft Power BI has a massive market reach, and even the momentum it takes through which it's able to integrate into various applications. So you can integrate the tool into even your mobile, your websites, Teams, the Microsoft Office. The tool is actually very flexible, even in its pricing pattern. Also, well above average functionality, and it has an ambitious product roadmap. So Microsoft has a lot of plans for this tool. So every day they are upgrading this tool. So the Microsoft Power BI has, because of all this, remains the top analytics and intelligence platform. So let's even look at an overview of this tool. So with the Power BI, you're able to actually experience your data. So you can experience your data any day, anywhere, anytime. With Power BI, just like I mentioned earlier, there is no need to move your data from wherever it is. The tool will literally go meet your data where it is and bring it in. The Power BI equips business users to directly connect with and gain insight to their data. So you're able to analyze your data from better Excel spreadsheets, on-premises data sources, big data, even streaming data, live data, cloud services, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what data type or where your data lives. The Power BI allows you to connect to over 100 data sources and bring in your data. So you have the ability to actually experience your data with pre-built dashboards and other features that it possesses. You're able to experience your data, and also the Power BI delivers unmatched, unique ways for users to experience their data with speed. So you're able to get results of your data with speed, with agility. So whether you're in the office, whether you're on the go, wherever you are, the Power BI provides access to be able to get insight on your data with dashboard, because you can actually use the tool on your desktop, on the website, on even mobile devices. You're able to use this tool. So most importantly, the Power BI, with the Power BI, you're able to leverage world-class data analytics capability, not just on historical data sets, but also on real-time data. So wherever your data is coming from, wherever it's streaming from, you're able to see your data in real time as it's happening right now. So that's also another very interesting thing about the Microsoft Power BI. So the Microsoft Power BI, you're able to experience the data from the stats, from the data, to the insight. So you're able to get an easy flow of your data. You're able to connect to data, like I said, from various sources. You're able to connect your data, like I said, from various sources. Sorry about that. Create relationship and also data models that can further visually represent your data using customizable charts and graphs on the Power BI desktop. So generally, users are able to uncover meaningful insights on all devices and make better driven decisions and hence enhance your company. So next, I want us to look at just two use cases of how this tool has been able to help organizations today. So firstly, let's look at the Nigerian Red Cross. So the Nigerian Red Cross is a non-profit organization. Some of us may be familiar with this organization. It's a non-profit organization. They have over 300 employees and over 5,000 volunteers scattered across the country. And they were struggling with visibility into their crisis data. So they had problems with the data that was being generated by these volunteers in various places in the country. They were struggling with being able to have visibility into this data that is generated. So they needed a solution that can not only show them real-time data crisis, but also create real-time alerts on those crises happening. So they want to be able to get an alert as soon as the crisis occur. So this was where Power BI came into play. So Power BI was their go-to solution. And Reliance Infosystems were actually able to help them leverage on this tool to collect real-time data crisis from their volunteers across the country. So they're able to collect this data, we're able to help them collect this data, leveraging on this tool, and also further visualize this data and generate insight into the thousands of crisis data sets that these volunteers were incurring. So previously, this was impossible with the manual process they were doing, but with Power BI tool, they were able to actually get access into their data and further create these alerts on crisis data and further help them generally to solve whatever problem they were having with their data sets. Next, let us look at Heathrow Airport. So Heathrow Airport is a travel and transportation company. It has over 10,000 employees. And because of how large this company is, every day, millions of people, they pass through this airport from one place to another. And because of the many people that pass through this airport, they are generating large volumes of data. And sometimes they even experience disruption. So they wanted to be able to receive the right data and then also predict when this disruption will occur. They also wanted to be able to better organize and plan their daily activities. So this was where they were able to actually leverage Power BI and Power Apps to pull data out of their back-end system and also see their data, see their real-time passenger data and real-time passenger data and prepare for travel volume fluctuations. So with the Power BI tool, they're able to leverage on the Power BI tools to solve a lot of problems. In cases where they had passenger traffic, they were able to use this tool to predict this passenger traffic in real time. Also, when it comes to volume, the travel volume fluctuations, they were also able to prepare for this flight cancellation. And generally, when disruption occurs, they were able to better prepare for it, better handle their data, and in general, better create more meaningful customer experience. So now we've been able to see the value realization of data analytics as a whole for informed decision making. let's take the next few minutes to go through a demo section in which my colleague Patai will be taking us through the section to actually experience what this looks like in Power BI tool. And further, if you have any question, please feel free to drop it on the chat box, and my colleagues will be readily available to answer to your questions. Thank you so much. Patai, over to you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Praise. I think that was quite a lot to take in, and yeah, thank you very much for walking us through the Power BI proposition, what it has to offer for us, and then of course what we can do with it. What I'm supposed to start going through the demo, I would like to say that at this point, if there are questions, if there are clarifications that we seek, we can always drop that in the chat, and either myself or my colleagues on the call will attempt to take those questions and answer them. All right. I have not seen any question in the chat for now, so I'm just going to proceed, right? And how am I going to proceed? I'm going to be starting with a story. And this is a story about Heaventel. So what is Heaventel? Heaventel is a fast-growing security company that's practically specializes in procuring, installing, and maintaining security systems in both the private sector and the government sector. This is a very prestigious company, by the way. So what is the target of Heaventel? Heaventel wants to become a household name and provide their services to over 15 million individuals within the security sector, right? So now, but they had some blockers, right? The blockers they have are that currently they have difficulty in effectively managing and analyzing their data in a timely manner for them to get insight into customer buying pattern, into the product they offer, and how they can effectively target the market. I'm sure that even if we're not in the security sector, most of us on the call today can relate with this. We want to take our product or our business to the next level, and we need data to do this, right? Now, let's go back to Heaventel. Why is Heaventel struggling to take their business to the next step? Why are they struggling to capture the next market? And majorly, it's very simple. They currently have an existing manual process and outdated tools in analyzing or in harnessing their data, and they're finding it very easy or very difficult to get insight into excuse me, they're finding it difficult to get insight into their business, right? They're finding it difficult to understand the data that their business is generating and how they can use these to make informed decisions on the next steps. And a lot of us can relate to this. We are currently collecting data, right? And this data are scattered in multiple silos, right? We have data stored in Excel files. We have data stored in different databases. We have data in different operation units. So the HR people are using their own system. The finance and accounting people team are using their own system, be Sage S3 or be Sage or any of those solutions. The operations team are using a different solution entirely. Procurement is using another solution entirely. So it's very difficult to sort of like bring all of these data together and see them on a single plane of glass. That is data silo, right? And that is one of the challenges that Heaventel as an organization is facing. Now, I'm going to be drilling into the specific problems that each of the stakeholders in this company is facing, which, of course, I want to believe that we can relate to it. And together, we're going to help this company on this call within the next 15 minutes solve this particular problem. I want to believe that is very interesting. Okay, so now let's start with the business analyst. Currently, the company has data silos, right? And the data analyst or the business analyst spend a large amount of each time gathering data, right? Because of course, this data everywhere. Now, there's a lack of flexibility with the legacy tools that they currently use to analyze this data, right? So it spends a lot of time collecting data, cleaning data, and it spends a lot of time on repeatable and boring process, right? Now, also, the data analyst has difficulty automating these reports, so he has to do them every time that this needs to go out. And of course, there's now the difficulty because of this process. There's now the difficulty of addressing the needs and the use cases of their stakeholders. All right. Okay, so yes, to answer your question, yes, I see a question here that is it possible to record the session? I think the session is currently recorded, and this recording will be shared with everyone. Okay, so moving on. Yes, so the data analyst has difficulty in meeting the needs of all the business stakeholders. All right, now let's go to the sales manager. The sales manager, because of this, of course, apparent lack or apparent gap in getting the needed data to make decisions, the sales manager has difficulty in determining what is a viable discount for each of their products. The sales manager cannot ascertain the products that are suitable for price increase or price optimization. The sales manager is also making it impossible to determine what product needs to be spotlighted. And of course, there's a general lack of insight that is needed to improve customer purchases. Now, it doesn't stop there. The marketing manager also has her own challenges because of the lack of data or the lack of data general from the data system that Eventel currently uses. So the marketing manager cannot track and analyze market trends. She struggles to prepare realistic forecasts. She has visibly no insight to effectively strategize around marketing campaigns. And of course, there is a general need to improve the overall customer buying experience, which of course is currently difficult. Now, the CEO. Of course, the CEO needs real-time insight into business performance, which of course is not coming from the data analyst, right? The CEO is highly dependent on the business analyst for data insights, and these data insights are not coming. The CEO wants to determine the various business, wants to understand the insight or get insight into the various different business KPIs, such as profit, such as sales performance, product performance, and so on and so forth, to be able to know what is the next step for my business and how can I make my business better. And of course, there's also the insight into suitable regions for expansion. And all of these data, of course, is not forthcoming, which is why we're going to be helping this company solve all of this problem together on this call today. So permit me to just quickly switch. I'm going to share another screen, and we're going to go into Power BI together, and we're going to have to help Eventel solve this problem. Okay, so I'm currently in the Power BI interface right now. My colleague already told us what Power BI is about, how it's a business intelligence tool that allows us to collect and aggregate data from multiple data sources, bring all of this together, analyze the data, and present it for informed decision making. But what is the first step? Where do we start from? The very first thing is that, remember the very first problem. Eventel currently has data silos. They have data scattered across all their multiple business and business segments, and they are not able to harmonize all of this data. So let's solve that problem first. The first thing the data analyst needs to do is to come to get data. So in get data in Power BI, you're able to integrate data from over 150 data sources. I'm going to take time to take that again. With the data analyst is able to integrate and get data from over 150 data sources. These data sources can either be data sources in flat file like Excel, CSV file, XML file, JSON file, folders, package, and even SharePoint folders. Or this data could even be in a database such as SQL Server, Oracle DB, IBM, MySQL, Postgres, and so on and so forth. There is no limit to, of course, the database that we can connect to. The data analyst can also connect to Microsoft Fabric, which of course just launched a few days ago, to get data across unified data sets across the organization, such as the data lake house, the data mart, Power BI data set, and so on and so forth. Data analysts can also get data from cloud sources. So if your company is already modernized to the cloud and you have data either in Azure, in blob storage, you have data in Azure Synapse Analytics, in Cosmos DB, and so on and so forth, the data analyst or Power BI can allow you to connect data or to connect to these systems and bring in data. And of course, there are multiple online services as well, like Dynamics 365, Azure DevOps, Salesforce, Google Analytics, QuickBooks, Zendesk, Asana, Databricks, and so on and so forth. So the limit is endless, right, for what the data analyst can get data from. And there are also other data sources like the web, SharePoint, and so on and so forth. Now, the question may arise. Our system is a legacy system, our application is a legacy application, and it doesn't have like a out-of-the-box connector to Power BI. That is not a problem. Power BI allows you to expose APIs or endpoints over OData, and you're able to consume that data in Power BI. So let's quickly dive into where does this the data analyst at Avontel start from. So it's going to attempt to start integrating data from multiple sources. And a sample of these sources could be Excel files. So the data analyst wants to get data from Avontel financials. All he needs to do is to go to get data, click on Excel file, click on financials, and is able to connect and get this data into Power BI in a split second. So you can see here, if it clicks on this, it sees the financial data about Avontel, the segment, the country, product, and so on and so forth. This is a file, or this is the data that is sitting in an Excel file, and it can go on and on to get data from databases, to get data from even other sources as it were. All right, I'm not going to be going through this phase because of our time. I've gone ahead to connect to all of these data sources, and I'm just going to be showing you. Okay, so I'm going to go to the data tab here, and you can see from right here, we've already gone ahead to get data for financial data that is sitting in an Excel file, to product data that is sitting in a database somewhere, to sales data that is sitting in on the cloud or in Azure, and of course the segment data that is sitting in another Excel or flat file. Now the data analyst has gone ahead to integrate all of this data and is now able to create relationships. All right, this is where Power BI gets really beautiful. You're not just integrating these data sources from different places and just leaving them. You're now able to build meaningful connections between your disparate data sources. So you're able to connect sales data, for instance, to segment data. You're able to connect segment data to product. You're able to connect it to financials, and so on and so forth. So it gets really, really beautiful. And of course, I'm excited talking about this. Okay, now we've brought in the data. We've solved the problem of unifying Avontel's data sources. We've solved the problem of creating relationships, right? We've solved the problem of eliminating data silos, and of course, creating meaningful relationship between these data. Now, the next step, let's start answering the business questions, right? So I'm going to go to my report view here. And what does the data analyst need to do? Of course, we already have right? Of course, we already have this data, right? So what does the data analyst want to start answering the question around what is the sales, right, that we have generated? All he needs to do is to drag the sales to the canvas, and immediately you can see that, oh, the business generated $118 million in sales, right? Okay, so it's also interesting to see how about the cost of goods sold, right? I can also drag this to the canvas and see, oh, we actually have $101 million in cost of goods sold, which puts our profit at around 17 or 16 million dollars. Right now, it's interesting. We may also want to see, okay, so what are the different will I say categories, right, or the breakdown? Let's say we want to see segment, right? Let's say we want to see the breakdown of our sales and of course the cost of goods sold by the different segments. So I can bring this to the canvas, right? And I can of course add my sales to this. I can add the cost of goods sold to this. This is showing as a scatter plot. I can say, okay, let me select this and I want to see this in a stacked bar chart. And immediately I'm able to visualize my sales versus my cost of goods sold across the multiple different segments that I am operating. So the data analyst can go on and on to start answering each of the business questions posed by the stakeholders. Of course, again, I'm a nice person and we're not going to go through this process of trying to to visualize all of the data. I've gone ahead to do this ahead of time, and I'm just going to be showing you some of the insights that the data analysts can, of course, show in their data set. Okay, so this is one of the reports that the data analyst has built for the sales manager. So now, in a single glance, all right, the sales manager can see what is the total sales that the company has made, 118 million. The target was to make 26 million, all right, which means that we surpassed our target by over 349%. I mean, this sales manager deserves a raise, okay? Now, let's go to profit. The target, we made a profit of 13 million. The target was to make 3.8 million. And now, we surpassed this target, of course, by 235%. This looks too good to be true, all right? But let's just assume, I mean, it's true, okay? So the cost of goods sold sits at 101 million, and of course, discounts at 9.2 million. So at a single glance, the data analyst or the sales manager, can see all of this. Now, the sales manager can also see what products are best performing and what products are not performing so well. We can see that the deposit sales, the deposit safe, is the highest performing product category at 33 million, while the VHF radios are the least performing at 14 million. Okay, you can also see the breakdown by the different segments, right? From government to small business to enterprise. And we can see that the government segment is where we're getting our most money, while the mid-market and channel partners are the areas that needs attention. So maybe we want to go there with more campaigns, we want to go there with more promotions and so on and so forth, just so that we can get more value from that. Okay, now we can also see the breakdown of our sales by country. Okay, and we can see how we're selling in Canada, how we are selling in the USA. We can see the sales that we have made in the USA, and of course we can even see a drill through or a tooltip about the sales or the product that we're selling in this region. Of course, we can also see the sales that is being made in let me just zoom out of this chart. We can also see the sales that we're making in Europe. Okay, I think that zoom was too much. Okay, let me go back a little. Okay. All right, beautiful. So we can also see from here, we can also see the sales we are making in Germany, and of course the sales we are making in France. All right, and of course there's a breakdown. The sales manager can also see the trend, all right, year-on-year trend or month-on-month trend about the business. So you can see the sales the business is generating across the different months and different years, and of course the cost of goods sold vis-a-vis the sales. All right, and we can see 2013, 2014 sales, and we can see that there is a peak in sales around October and December. So we can drill into this to spotlight what are some of the drivers, right, of this sales increase. Of course, we can also drill up or drill down to see this at a more granular level. Now, this is where it gets interesting. With Power BI, you're not just limited to a static report, all right? You're able to filter and interact with this report as you deem fit. So for instance, I'm going to try to interact with this report using the product filters, and I can see how this data or how this report is changing according to the filters that I apply. So you're not just limited to a static report, you're able to visualize your data across the different filters that you have previously determined. So now the sales manager is really happy with the business analyst, is happy with what he's enjoying with this tool, and of course he's saying, I mean, kudos, well done. Okay, but now we've only solved the problem of one person. Don't forget, we still need to solve the problem of the marketing manager, and we need to solve the problem of the CEO. Okay, so let's quickly go to discount. Remember, the marketing manager has a very difficult time understanding the products, right? Of course, that have been discounted. Is this discount really effective? And what are some of the areas that, of course, or the segments that require us to further get insight into in order to make our products better? Again, we have the summary statistics above here for our data, all right? And now we have other things. So we can see, for instance, the discounts, how the discounts has fared over time from 2014, and of course the discount for the previous month. We can also see at the left-hand side here the discount we have offered to the different product segment. And one thing that jumps out at me is this: despite us hovering over the same discount to about 972 million in discounts at the VHF radio, this product is still struggling. Okay, we can also see the different discount bands. All right, the discount, the products were giving a high discount to, or the customers were giving a high discount to, medium, low, and all. Now, it's also important. Let's say we want to see, is there a correlation between the discount we're offering and the corresponding sales? And this is what this scatter plot is meant to solve. So we're able to see, this is high discount. The darker blue are the high discounts, the lighter medium, low, and then the no discounts are the ones that are a little pinkish. And we can see that there's a direct correlation between the discount we offer and how it affects sales. Let me just use these high sales to filter this report, and we can see that where we give discount, we actually have, there's a direct proportionality, right, between the discounts we offer and of course the sales. Does this mean we should offer more discounts or less discount? I can't say yet. Okay, we need to further drill into the data. And of course we can also see the medium, we can see the low, of course, and you can see that even though there is a correlation, this is of course very weak regarding, okay, how does this directly affect our sales? All right, so, and we can see, of course, this is not only limited to designs or reports like this. We have a lot of flexibility into customizing and creating our own reports, right, for that fits the use case of our business. And so Power BI is not like a prepackaged solution that says, okay, you're limited to this report. No. You have the flexibility to work, to customize your Power BI to fit the need and the use cases of your business. And we can also see how our discounts have fared over time. We can see from 2013 across the government how our discounts increased from 0.9 to 3 million 2013 to 2014. For small businesses, 0.8 to 2.7. And we can see how this has fared over time. All right. For the purpose of time, let's quickly move to profits as well. Now, the CEO wants to see what are the profits? Where's the money coming from? Where do we need to expand more? Of course, we can see the summary statistics into about the business. Now we can further drill into, we're making the most revenue or the most profit in the United States, and these are the products that of course are giving us this. Of course, our least performing country has to be Germany, right? Germany is where we're least performing. Do we need to do more targeted campaigns in this region? Oh, not Germany. I think I see a smaller one here. Let me see what country is this. I think this is Mexico. Just want to quickly confirm. Yeah, Mexico. Yeah, Mexico is where we're making the least revenue. All right. So we can decide, okay, what are some of the things we can do, all right, to drive more business in this region? And of course, what we don't track or what we don't measure, we cannot improve. The fact that we're tracking this right now gives the CEO the leverage to now start making the certain decisions that of course is going to improve the business. We can also see the various profit by the segment. We're making, of course, the least, the most revenue at the government segment, and of course the least revenue at enterprise. Actually, we're actually losing at the enterprise level. And of course, you can see the breakdown or the trend, the month-on-month trend or the time intelligence about all of these. And again, like I said, this report is not static. We can filter and drill through as we want. All right. Now we've answered all the questions. Let me quickly spotlight on one or two more things before I wrap up for today. Okay. So now look at this, right? In Power BI, you're not limited. Power BI is not just for that seasoned data analyst to analyze data and all. With Power BI, everybody is a citizen analyst. So which means that you can interact and ask questions about your data, and Power BI using the normal conversational English that you're familiar with, and Power BI will would convert this text that you have typed into a visual. Look at what we have here. So this query says, what is the total sales? So this query says, what is the total sales by segment in a column chart? And immediately this Power BI did this for us. Okay, so let me try another query. Let's say I want to see what is the total cost of goods sold All right, so it gave me 101 million. So I want to see total cost of goods sold by, let's say by country. All right, so you can see that is already returned in a pie chart. All right, so I want to see total cost of goods sold by country in a pie chart. And ladies and gentlemen, just look at this. I just typed what I needed, and of course I get this visual. Of course, this is a very ugly visual. Please don't be angry at me. This is just for demo purposes only. So I wouldn't represent country in a pie chart, but I mean just for demo purposes. All right, so let's say I want to see it. So let's do the right thing now. So let's say I want to see this in a column chart. All right, so this is me just typing, and Power BI is converting what I've typed into a visual for me. And you can also see others. So you can see show previous cost of goods sold and financials. You can see that what is the previous profit by country, what is the sales month on month, and you can go on and ask your own questions from the data, and Power BI turns this into a visual for you. Finally, let me talk about AI visuals. Power BI also has some AI visuals within Power BI that allows you to see, to drill into particular data and also see some insights from that. So you can see I have profits here, right? Let's say I want to drill into the factors that are driving the profits. Okay, so we see the government sector, the small business, the channel, the mid-market and enterprise. And we can see, of course, we're making the most money from here. What are some of the elements that are contributing to how much we're making in this segment? All right, so let's drill into government, and we can see the deposit save, the panic alarm. The deposit save, of course, is giving us the highest revenue in this region, and the least, of course, is fire alarm. Let's now see what countries. All right, so I can also drill into this, and I can see Canada is where the most money is coming from. Germany is where the least money is coming from regarding the deposit save in the government segment. And we can do this again for others, right? We can drill into this, we can drill into this, but where it gets really interesting, let me come to enterprise. This is where we're losing money, right? Let's see, where are we losing the most money? Okay, you can see at the enterprise, we're making a loss at the enterprise segment. All right, now we're losing the most money on VHF radio, losing the least at fire alarm. Let's drill into VHF radio and see what are the things we need to correct. All right, so we can see we're losing money. The bulk of our losses are from the VHF radio, and the bulk of these losses are in Mexico, right? Followed by France and Germany. All right, so if we need to start taking steps or taking measures to course correct and to fix what are the issues with this business, we can of course start to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where I try to wrap up. With Power BI, we see how we've been able to solve the different the issues and the challenges they have with actualizing data, with making data useful, and with making intelligent, driven decisions with their data. This is the power that Power BI places in our hands. Now we see that the sales manager is happy, is able to understand his product, is able to understand his customers, and she's able to make decisions. The marketing manager also is able to understand our market, is able to understand how discounts are performing, and she's able to make intelligent decisions. The CEO now has visibility into the different KPIs. Of course, this is not exhaustive. Of course, you can get more, right? But the sales manager or the CEO is happy with what he sees, and of course he's going to ask more questions, because with Power BI or with data analysis, the questions never stop. All right, so the sales manager is going to ask more questions, the marketing manager is going to ask more questions, the CEO is going to ask more questions about the data. How can we improve this? How can we fix this? How can we drop our costs? How can we improve our revenue? This is the power that Microsoft Power BI puts in our hands, ladies and gentlemen. We are able to track. All right, we're able to track, we're able to measure, and we're able to improve our business KPIs with Power BI. Now, the data analysis is done with all these things. What does it do? It goes here and it publishes this report. All right, it saves this report and publishes it to workspace, because all of this work is done from the desktop. All right, the Power BI desktop. Now, the sales manager or the data analyst publishes this report to the Power BI desktop, to the Power BI service, and is able to now share this report in real time. All right, it's able to share. So you can see here, this report is now in the Power BI service. Now, what does it need to do? It needs to just click on share, and it's able to share this report with the different business stakeholders. So let's say Olumide Olufiade is the name of the CEO. Now he's able to share this report with Olumide Olufiade. Is going to click send, and in real time, the CEO now has visibility into this data. It doesn't need to call the data analyst again. Oh, what is the performance for this month? What is the performance for? In real time, ladies and gentlemen, in real time, the CEO is able to have visibility. And of course, this is available on mobile, it's available on the desktop, it's available on the go. So at every point in time, the CEO can have visibility into the company data, and is also able to make decisions. Now we've eliminated data silos, we've integrated all our data, we've analyzed our data, we've visualized it, and we've made this data available in real time to all business stakeholders. I mean, tell me, what can be better than this? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to waste our time so much. I'm going to stop here. And at this point, I'm going to hand over to Nifemi. That is going to, of course, continue with the next phase of our conversation. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much for that wonderful demo, Fatai. We appreciate your dedication and how well you have explained the wonderful benefits of Power BI. Okay, so before we conclude, I want to remind us again that we have a free digital consultation available for everyone who is an attendee of this webinar. We have already dropped the link in the chat window. We are also going to drop it again for others who may have missed it. And so please leverage this for you to be able to benefit from that opportunity. We have a few questions in the chat window. I would like us to take those again. Maybe Fatai can help us with that for those who may have missed it. How flexible and compatible is Power BI with other vendors' applications and products? Could you help us with that answer, Fatai? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Nifemi. So how flexible? So when I started, remember I shared how we can connect to different data sources, right? Data sources are sitting on-prem or in the cloud and all. Now, these, of course, are third-party solutions, all right? This can be any solution. This can be, I think I mentioned Salesforce, I mentioned Google Analytics, I mentioned Asana, I mentioned Sage. There's so many data sources or applications that this can connect to. And even if you build a custom application in your own company, of course, that is not publicly available, right? Now we can now expose some API or the endpoints, and we're able to connect to Power BI using those methods. So you're not limited with that. Power BI also integrates, we can also embed Power BI into other applications. So you don't have to consume Power BI on the web. You can embed it into your own application and have your users interact with those reports in real time. So Power BI integrates very well with third-party solution. Okay. So I think Mr. Bankole, okay, Nifemi, I think that's it. Do you want to take the next question?
Okay, the second question is about how using Power BI is able to aggregate data from different sources, locations, companies, or branches into one platform.
Okay, yeah, that's essentially the bedrock of the demo that I did, right? So you could see that with Eventel, I was able to connect to data sources in Excel. I was able to connect to data sources in SQL, in a database. I was able to connect to some data that is sitting in the cloud, and we're able to bring everything together. So how does Power BI does this? You're just able to, for a database, for instance, the same way you try to connect to a database from on your server, you just need to provide the server credentials. You need to server credentials or database credentials. You sign in, and you're able to have a read access, of course, to that data source, right? And you're now able to bring, you're able to connect to a data source, maybe bring one data from Excel, bring another data from the database, bring another data from maybe your Sage, or bring data from Magento or Asana. Now, after bringing all of those data together, you're now able to create relationship. You're now able to do data modeling on those data to further create some relationships, and you're not able to now cross what's the word now? You're not able to perform analysis across all of these data sets that you have brought in. And of course, we can dive into a more particular use case with you. Nifemi mentioned the free digital consultation. We can meet with you to answer specific questions, maybe around your data, and of course, see how this can be tailored to you. But yes, to answer the question emphatically, yes, you can connect to multiple systems and you can bring all of that data into Power BI. Nifemi.
Okay, thank you, Fatai. Bankole was also asking how you are able to help your clients in aggregating the data from their different branches.
Okay. I don't know if that is peculiar to Eventel or if that is peculiar to Reliance Infosystems. So I'll just attempt to answer both, right? So for Eventel, basically the same thing. For this particular one, we don't have excuse me. For Eventel, we don't have branch related data, all right? So we couldn't connect to, we couldn't get data related to the branch, but it's pretty much the same thing. The same way we connected to that data, if we have branch level, so what we had currently in the data set are country level data, but if we had branch level data, that is very, very easy. We could also get that in, and it's not like it's not any difficult. It's pretty much the same thing. For Reliance Infosystem customer, what we do is that if we first of all sit with you, if you want to go through maybe understanding or implementing Power BI in your organization, we sit with you, we listen to you, of course. We listen to the problems you have, we listen to the challenges, and of course, what are the blockers that we have. And we try to envision a roadmap on this is and this and this is how we plan to solve it. We've done this for quite a lot of customers. So if you have branch related data, for instance, let's say for an FMCG, okay, you make you have sales data across multiple branches. Let's even say there is no like central location where they keep all this data, okay? So let's say it's like scattered in Excel files, all right? All of these Excel files can be dropped in, say, SharePoint, right? Which will serve as a central repository. What Power BI just needs to do is to connect to the folder that, or let's say this data is aggregated on a branch, state, and country level. So you have all the data from the different branches. Let's say you have 100 branches in one state. You put it in a folder called let's say Accra or Qatar or whatever the state is, and now you now have multiple folders for different states, all right, in the country. Okay, so now you're now able to connect to SharePoint, to connect to that folder, and you're able to suck in all of that data across all these multiple branches at the same time without having to do or repeat all of this process manually. So what then needs to happen is when we now have new data or new branch data, we just need to drop it in that particular folder, go on Power BI refresh or schedule a refresh, and in real time that data gets sucked in and that data gets analyzed. I mean, so that's just some of the ways we can go around that. But of course, like I said, you can always sit with you to understand a particular use case and try to help solve that. Nifemi.
Okay, so I want to believe Mr. Bankole is satisfied with your response. We also had an earlier question that asked about what transformations can actually be done on Power BI from PowerPoint or Word document connectors when it is just a text or a story available in these documents. Please run through it again in case anyone missed it.
Okay, yeah, thank you very much. I see that Praise tried to answer that particular data, that particular question, sorry. So currently, Power BI works better with structured or semi-structured data. All right. So what do I mean? So structured data in columns and rows, semi-structured data like data from JSON, XML, and so on and so forth. Textual data would need to use some other solutions, maybe to first, if there's like a pattern, or let's say in this Word document or PowerPoint, let's say we are talking about tables or something, we can of course connect to them to Power BI, right? But when we're talking about textual or text data, when we're talking about text data, we may need to maybe now look at other solutions that Microsoft has, all right, for us to be able to analyze it. We're trying to we're trying to do sentiment analysis. So for instance, there are some companies that listen to the web. So say you want to get data from Twitter, you want to understand what people are saying about your brand and so on and so forth. So there are some systems that first allow us to collect those or collect those data, or some tools in Power BI that allows us to first collect, and in Microsoft, that allows us to first connect to those data sources, bring them together, and maybe put some form of structure over them before them passing this data to Power BI. So yes, you're not left alone because, okay, this is textual data and we cannot analyze it. We can first use some other systems that Microsoft has to offer, all right? And then we can pass this off to Power BI. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you, Fatai. Do we have any other questions before we call it a wrap? If we do not have any further questions, I would like us to make use of your free digital consultation with us. The solutions form has also been, I'll get back to you very soon, Lim. I hope I got that right. So we have the option of a free digital consultation with us, and you can click on that link to book a session with us. So you can engage with us outside of this webinar via that opportunity. You can also send us an email at connect@reliance.systems. Fatah, I have a question about affordability. Please, could you take that?
So that's a that's a very tricky question. But me, as Power BI is affordable. I'm not sure if the question is catching me unawares. So I don't know. I think we can have that conversation after this. So Power BI is licensed by user, and it can also be licensed by capacity, right? So say you have 10 users in the organization that wants to use Power BI, so you don't need to license Power BI for all you don't need to license Power BI for all the users in your organization. You can license them for the individuals that need to connect to Power BI directly. There could also be another use case where, you have a lot of users, maybe over 300 or 400, and it's not cost effective to license individual. You can also license by capacity, and you don't need all of these users to have individual licenses in order to use or to work with data. There are also other options around, we don't want to use Power BI on the web or something. We want to embed this in our own application, and we want to use it in our own application. So it also has a different cost mechanism. But Power BI is very, very cheap. The costing is similar to what you pay on other M365 Office 365 packages, all right? But we can have that extensive conversation after now.
Thank you, Fatai. So, Mr. Bankole, we hope to hear from you very soon on leveraging Power BI for your organization. Please connect with us at our social media platforms on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Reliance Infosystems. You can also send us an email at connect@reliance.systems. We look forward to hearing from you. Please also note that the recording and the slides are going to be made available for everyone by virtue of being a participant in this webinar. We thank you all for taking time out to spend some time with us here to learn about leveraging data analytics for informed decision making. Do not forget to fill the solutions form for us to reach out to you on where you would need assistance, and also the feedback form for us to know how we can serve you better. Thank you so much for being with us today. Do enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, everyone.